Welcome to Straight Out of Savannah, Talking with Tammi, a podcast that showcases people you may not know who are choosing to use their gifts to inspire and move the planet.
Thank you so much for joining us on Straight Out of Savannah, Talking with Tammi. My guest, Erica Castner, is here, and I am super excited to speak to her, and you're going to love what she has to say. So, Erica, take it away. Let the people know who you are and what it is that you do in the world.
Thanks, Tammi. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So, as you alluded, my name is Erica Castner, and I help business leaders increase their impact and influence by being more productive and purposeful in their work, especially by leveraging other people's audiences. And I'm sure we'll dive into that on some level, but we're more powerful when we can talk and speak about the things that we breathe into this world, what we're passionate about. And if we align with other people to share those synergies and create opportunities to form partnerships and alliances that are going to help expand our impact. That's what I'm all about. I'm all about helping people figure out where those flames are, light those sparks, and make stuff happen in a way that they could never imagine. And I love connecting with people. I know you and I recently connected. You were on my show not too long ago. I'm on this show tonight. So we're going to have so much fun tonight talking about all the things related to driving more impact in this world. So again, thanks for having me.
Yes. So, I want to talk a little bit about your Ironman and your and that, because I know that has to play a part in the reason why you do what you do.
Oh, girl. Well, not so much. I honestly, when I started my company in 2015, I did not set out to have any aspirations of being Ironman. So for our listeners today who may have heard about Ironman, but you're not really for sure what that's all about. So it's a triathlon race that my husband and I are currently training for. We did a half Ironman in May of 2021. As we're recording this, it's the late summer of 2021, and we're getting ready to embark on our first full Ironman journey, which is a 2.4 mile swim, a 112 mile bike ride, and a full marathon, which is a 26.2 mile race, and a run race, I should say, all in one day. You got like less than 17 hours to get it done. And I teeter on the line of inspirational insanity. I don't flip a coin. I don't know. Right? But it definitely does create some opportunities for endurance and the ability to stick with a goal. As something like training for Ironman is definitely one of the most challenging things I've ever done in my life. And some of the synergies as it relates to what I've done with it does relate to business. And I'm sure that'll come up in conversation today as it relates to that correlation, but it's really helped me think about my business respectively and the impact that I'm making in this world. Because as I talk about it on social media and as I talk about it with my friends, and you're obviously one of my new friends, Tammi, it definitely lights some engagement and some conversation and some inspiration for people to just get out there, kick butt, take names, and do something really massive. So something I never thought I'd ever do in a million years, but here I am living the dream.
I was going to say, I mean, just the fact that you do that on purpose is.
And I pay people to do it. They're not paying me. It's not like I'm getting like an Olympic medal or anything like that at the end of this thing. I mean, So anyway, but no, it's fun. But it's definitely, again, it's a challenge. Personally, I get to do it with people. I'm trained with the team that's actually going to do this with me. So that makes it fun. And I think that does synergistically align with some of the things that I do professionally, because so much of what I do on my professional side is so aligned with getting more people involved and building those relationships and that rapport with people to drive that impact in this world. And we're definitely doing that, together as a Ironman team. We're doing that together to drive impact in this world. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. That, and I knew that it would align because it just sounded like it goes together.
Thank you for that.
So where did you get the inspiration to do this business? I mean, was this something that you had decided years ago that, you wanted to have your own business, or you wanted to help people to step into the leadership roles that that they already have? What was your inspiration for that?
So I started my career over 2 decades ago. I know I've been doing this since I was 5. So no, I'm kidding.
So you're 29.
Yeah, exactly. You got my number, my friend. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
No, so I actually started my company in 2015, and I had absolutely no aspirations to ever start a company. I was pretty content when I started my career in the corporate retail space over 2 decades ago, helping other companies build their brands. So being a part of an operation that was, I actually started with national brands like Lancome Cosmetics, Victoria's Secret, Dillard's, some other ones that, I don't necessarily need to name tonight, but I started in that track, and I was really content with just doing whatever I needed to do to be a success on that team. And then I had my own kind of come to Jesus moment in, I would say 2013, when I was working out of retail. I was by then I had completely shifted gears. I had moved from another area. So I grew up, let me backtrack just a minute, Tammi. So I lived most of my life in a small town in Illinois. And when I moved to Southwest Florida, which is where I live now, I moved in 2005 and shifted careers, shifted new city, all the things that were brand new to my world, and really got myself in that situation where I involved myself in the community. And so here I was working in the corporate retail space for about 11 years. Then when I moved to Southwest Florida, shifted gears, started working for local establishments. And that's how I really got involved with the Chamber of Commerce. And that kicked me off into understanding that there's a lot of small businesses out there, and even mid-sized and big-sized businesses that really needed support, and they really valued community partnerships. And so that's what led me down this track of saying, you know what, eventually I think I could do this on my own terms, on my own scale, not necessarily just for local businesses, but what can I do to impact people on a regional level? And now today, this is flash forward. I mean, I left my job in 2015, started my company with the intention of just really helping small businesses excel at whatever it is that they were going to do. But it really led me to where I'm at today in terms of just thinking, okay, we have a whole opportunity here. We don't necessarily have to be defined by borders. Yes. We can say, what is it about our uniqueness? What is it about our expertise, our story that needs to be heard in other pockets of this world? Yes. And then how can we leverage like what you and I are doing tonight, right? We're sharing the stage. And I'm getting introduced to your audience. You were on my show not too long ago. We're getting ready to release that episode to my audience here in another week or two. So it's so powerful when I can say, hey, this is my girl, Tammi. Look at all the awesome shit she's doing. Look what I'm doing over here. I can do the same thing with your audience, right? Yes. And it's that like fire exchange that happens. And I'm so moved by that, because that's what makes the world go around. When we think small and we think, I have to, that limits us. But if we can say, you know what, I have this idea, who can help me? That opens up a whole other world of exploration and opportunity. Yes. And so one of the messages I want to make sure that your audience hears tonight, Tammi, on this show or today, or whenever you're listening to this, peeps, is just making sure that whatever idea you have, it needs to be shared with other people. And there are going to be people out there that will tell you, you can't, you shouldn't, you don't need to be doing that. Don't be listening to those people. Find those people that will be telling you, hell yeah, what can I do to help you? And they are out there. You just have to turn over some rocks, kiss some frogs. That's all part of the process. I've done a fair share amount of that, but that is all part of the process. But you will find those people that will challenge you in other ways and make you see things differently and help you realize your dreams faster and more efficiently than you ever thought possible by yourself.
That is so powerful. And that's so real, because the thing is a lot of times, you're just one step away, one person away. And I always tell people that. I said, you think about, Oprah, somebody opened the door. Right. And now she's freaking Oprah, somebody opened the door, look at Tony Robbins. Yeah. Jim, what's his name? Jim Rohn opened the door for him. You know
Yeah.
what I
And,
mean?
and you think
got
of
all
every
these-
success story. Yeah. Think of every success story out
Yeah.
there. And that is how it happens. It doesn't happen by their own talent. It happens. Yeah, that's part of it. You have to have skin in the game. You have to show up.
Yes.
But invite other people into the journey. And again, you're going to realize there's going to be some people out there that are going to be haters. And you know what? That's all part of the process. So you just understand that those people are not meant to be on your mission, vision, purpose. That's okay. They ain't there to like be on the team. You just have to know that, oh, yep, Erica and Tammi were talking about that. I remember that.
Yes.
And then just be like, forgive and delete. Let's move on because somebody else is out there that's going to help me drive this mission on a bigger level.
I always say next.
Thank you, next. Yeah, exactly.
No, it's okay. That's all right. You know, you don't want it okay when somebody does. You know, but
Exactly.
That's true. It's like, you know, there are people out there, and that is something that I'm glad we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, you know, on this journey, especially this entrepreneurial journey, people think that, you know, they got to reinvent the wheel. And they think that there are not other people out there that are doing this or that have done it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because that's the thing. You partner with somebody that already is like a step ahead of you. You know, that can help you and guide you and say, yeah, and you know, that looks good and that looks rosy, but don't make that right turn.
Well, and that's what you need in your world. You need those people that have been on the path that you're trying to get onto, but they're usually 3 to 5 steps ahead of the process or more, right?
Yeah.
But they're at least 3 to 5 steps ahead of the process.
Yes.
And I don't care if you have to pay those people. You make friends with them any way you need to do. If you need to invest in their programs, if you need to volunteer for their organization, like whatever it is that you got to go do, surround yourself with those people, because those are the people that, like, those people aren't going to generally say no to you. I mean, there'll be a few that'll be like, look, I'm busy, but here's another resource, and they will still help you out. But it's generally the people that are the fakers and the haters out there that will blow you off. And that's another sign too. So I have found that the most influential people that I've ever come into contact with are usually the people that are like, hey, maybe I'm pressed for time. Maybe I don't have the bandwidth for this, but they will at least give me a nugget or another stepping stone in the process if they can't personally help me out with it. Most people will figure out a way to at least carve out 30 minutes, 40 minutes to have a conversation to give me the next steps, you know, and I'm willing to pay for that too. I'm willing to invest not only my time, but my dollars to make that happen, because I'm all about speed. Yeah. I'm all about speed. So our listeners out there, you know, if you're feeling me on that, you know, if you've got massive dreams out there, don't be afraid to align yourself with people that you're uncomfortable with, because those are generally the people that get stuff done. And don't be afraid to make those investments either. I mean, I know respectively, Tammi and I have programs. There's other people that have programs, but don't like say, oh, I shouldn't make those investments, because like we got to where we're at today because we made those investments. And I ain't afraid of that. I'm not like, you know, I'm going to wholeheartedly admit to that, because I am not I don't have the ability myself to do things that I'm going to do. I need to rely on other people's resources and talents to pull me up. So, and my own, you know, work ethic too is going to drive the needle, but I need to rely on other people to help me shape some of these ideas. So.
And then the thing is if you're afraid to invest, then how are you going to expect people to invest in what you do?
Hell yeah. I mean, you know, because like doing the things that I do, like, and going back to Ironman just for a second, Tammi, if you can indulge me for a second, like my coach always says this. He's like, I'm never going to make you do something that I would never do. And so I think that's an important lesson for all of us that are aspiring to help people in this world and drive impact. We have to be willing to say, you know, and I'm not saying that we go and like frivolously throw money at stuff. I mean, that's not what I'm saying. And I'm not even talking about a monetary thing for a minute. I mean, let's take money off the table for a minute. Let's just talk about time and energy, because we all got time and energy. Like we do. Like some of us are going to be like using that bullshit excuse that we ain't got time. Y'all have time. You just don't have priorities. And I think that we got to figure out that if it's important for us, we will prioritize the things that are important to us, and we will find a way. I mean, even if we have 82 irons in the fire, we are still going to find a way to make that happen.
We will find a way.
Yeah.
You'll get what you want.
Yeah, for sure.
People can say what they want to say. Oh, I can't afford to do that. But if you really want to, you will figure out a way. If you have to beg, borrow, steal, you're going to find a way. You know, if you have to go take out a loan or you got to whatever,
Yeah.
you know, you got to ask 50,000 people, or like my grandma told me one time, she said, ask 10 people for $100. You got $1,000.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so you'll find a way.
And there will be people out there that will like literally love you so much that they will give you that, right? I mean, they will like, they'll be like, okay, I don't know what you need it for. I mean, we're not necessarily recommending that, but like, I mean, you just think about the context of that statement that you just made, Tammi. Like there are people out there in this world, if you just ask them for that, they would probably come through and do that thing for you because they know, like, and trust you, or they just love you so much that they would do whatever to support you.
Yes.
So, but we think is, and this is like a human nature tendency. We think, especially for those of your listeners who are probably, and I come from this belief too. I used to come from this belief that I needed to do everything myself because I grew up thinking like I couldn't get help on homework. I couldn't get help. Like my parents would, and they did the best they could, but like there were instances where they didn't ask for support. And so there were things growing up as a family we didn't have because they didn't know how to ask for that support. And so I've realized in my adult world that I wasn't asking for help. I wasn't asking for support. And until I got enlightened and had kind of my own come to Jesus moment back in 2013, where I was like, holy hell, I need to be asking for help because I can't get myself out of this mess by myself. And I'm talking in circles here, but it's like those defining moments in our world. It's unfortunate that we have to get to these like moments in our world where
the dark night of the soul.
Yeah. But those are the moments that usually cause us to go to ground zero and say, you know what, I have to start anew. It's Phoenix rising, right? It's like coming from the ashes, figuring out how I'm going to resurrect myself from where I'm at in this world. And so anybody that's listening to this right now, who's fallen on dark times, who feels like, oh my gosh, I am at my rock bottom right now. Just know that there's people in this world right now that you could go talk to. It will be uncomfortable. It will feel scary as all get out. It will feel like that you are the only one in this mess. But I promise you, there are people out there that are trained professionals that can help you pull out of that mess if you're willing to ask for that support.
Yeah. And that's important because so many times people just don't ask. And a lot of times, just like you said, is beliefs from childhood, you know, or what you saw modeled in front of you, you know, what your parents did and all this stuff. And you have all these things going through your head that just keep you limited and keep you down, you know, and it's amazing. So was there a time where you felt like you had to burn it all down? Because that is something that happens so often.
Light it all up. No, I mean, I alluded to it earlier, but I think that there were moments in my life definitely where I felt that I didn't deal with emotions or instances in my world that were crushing or limiting or just, you know, not my best self. And so in 2013, that's kind of when all of this stuff happened. And let me just break it down for a quick minute. So 2013, I don't have my business yet, but I was at the pinnacle of what I thought was my career, my lifelong career. And I was well-known in this community. I had a lot of professional success. I had just got married to my husband, my current husband now. We had just been married 6 months. On the surface, for all practical purposes, I look like a freaking rock star. But underneath the surface, I was 40 pounds overweight, tens of thousands of dollars in debt, and pretty convinced I was headed to divorce court for the second time before I was 35. And that was like, like I can't do this because I'm either going to be divorced or dead, and neither one of those scenarios are good for anybody.
Right.
And I just knew that like that wasn't how it was supposed to play out. I knew instinctively I was meant for more. But I knew that what the mess I had dug myself into in terms of just feeling overworked, you know, overconsumed by alcohol, food, shopping, like all these codependent tendencies that I had at the time just to kind of like squelch any pain that I was dealing with.
Yes.
That was all coming to the surface. I just didn't know what the hell that meant. I didn't know at the time that was what I was dealing with, but it wasn't until I went and Tammi, real quick, as I'm having this moment, this little meltdown, I literally go to Facebook because I think that's what y'all do, right? We all just go to social media and we're like,
scrolling.
Okay, so what else going on in this world? Because I can't deal with this.
Right.
And so I see this life mastery workshop advertisement. Actually, I don't even think Facebook ads were even a thing back then, but I see this person. He's a coach that I knew in the area. He was like the Tony Robbins, and he still is today, but he's local, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, oh, dang, he's got this life mastery workshop. Mama needs that. And I got 2 free tickets. Like there was this contest he was having. So I get these 2 free tickets. And my next hurdle was convincing my husband, who was part of the challenge of where I was at right now, convincing him to go to this life mastery workshop on a weekend. Cause our weekend life was boating. I mean, it was boating with friends and drinking. And that was like our role. So fortunately he went, and it transformed the way we thought. I mean, a lot of the things I heard that workshop that day were things that I had heard before. And right. I think for a lot of our listeners who are listening to the story today, you know, right now what's crippling you, you know, where you're falling into self-sabotage, you know, there's things in your world, habits that you're creating that you're like, I don't need to be doing this, but you're still doing it. Like you're still going to that place. And why is that? Well, because there is something deep rooted in us, that our subconscious brain, that's telling us a different story than we know on our logical self. Yes. And I had discovered in that process of working with that first life coach that there was a lot of baggage that I was carrying on in my 30-some-year-old self that I was holding on to since I was an 8-year-old kid. And those decisions and everything that was driving me in my 30s was actually that 8-year-old child that was speaking. And I didn't know that. Like I wasn't hyper aware of that until I started doing the deep work that unveiled a lot of like chaos and a lot of like forgiveness that I needed to not only have for the people that had caused all this grief in my world, but even myself and how I was showing up in that process. And you, as an 8-year-old kid, you can't blame yourself for too much, right? Because we don't have the coping skills and whatever, but in our adult world, we absolutely do have a responsibility. Like we can't let that shit guide us. We can't, we have to figure out a way. And it's a process. It's not something we just be like, hey, all right, we're cool. We're going to go. That's not like that. It took me, but here's the thing. The reality of it is, Tammi, and you know this with the work that you do, but for our listeners today who might be like stumbling on this podcast interview today and they're like, oh my gosh, this is blowing my mind. Right. What I want you to know, you're speaking to me, girls. What I want you to know and listen to is that within 4 months, so from the time I'm like, here I am, I'm overweight, I'm overworked, I'm in debt, and I'm heading to divorce court for the second time before I'm 35. Within 4 months, I lost 30 pounds. Oh, wow. No fad diets, no nothing. I mean, just getting off my ass, stop putting another fried chicken. And I love fried chicken. Fried chicken, Pinot Grigio. I don't recommend the two of them together. They're not good together, but that was how I was rolling back in the day. But I was like, you know what? I have to get healthy. I have to start owning my center. I have to start speaking my own truth. Yes. And through that work, within 4 months, lost the weight. I would say within that like 6 to 8 months, my marriage was a lot stronger. It was a lot more unified with my husband. Within a year, and I think it was like a year and change, like maybe 13 months, we got out of that debt. And within 18 months, I launched my own company. So for anybody out there that's listening to this right now and they're thinking, oh my gosh, I am at rock bottom right now, I promise you this, if you're willing to put in the work, and I'm not just talking about the financial investment, that's part of it. Like if you have to go pay a professional to help you guide you out of the mess that you're in, do it. But you also can't just throw money at it. Like you can't. You have to be willing to say, you know what? How much time am I going to carve out each day? Just like exercise. Like you're not going to just be like, that's cute, I'm going to go think about going to the gym. Like, no, you physically have to get to the gym, go get on a treadmill or go run 6 miles or whatever your workout is. But you physically have to go do it. Just like the mental work you've got to do to sustain what you need to do in all areas of your life. So if you're wanting to launch a business deep down inside, if you're wanting to go do it, it's possible. But if you're not doing it right now, there's probably something on the surface or underneath, not on the surface. Because on the surface, you're like, okay, everything's good right now. There's something underneath that surface, something in the subconscious mindset that's telling you, no, you shouldn't do that. No, you shouldn't do that. That's a dumb idea. Like you got to break up with that. And that's where, you align yourself with people like Tammi, or, you go vet that source outside of,
Yes.
the scope of Tammi, but you go find that resource out there to go help you with that.
And it's important to find community. And I think that's where groups are so good now, and they're pushing so many groups on Facebook. But I think it's so amazing that we can find community in groups, and we can find, our people, and it's just something. And the thing is even in the midst of all of that, you saw that you needed to make this change. You saw that you needed to make a transition. And to me, listening to you talk, that was huge. Because a lot of times people they know that they're numbing out with alcohol, drugs, food, Facebook, TV, Netflix, whatever. They know they're numbing out, but they don't know how to make that change, or sometimes they don't see the need to make the change. One question I have for you that just came was, have you ever had a person that has reached out to you that you said, no, I can't work with you?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, and it just depends on the context. When I first started my company, my business and the way it was structured looks different than it does today. And so I'm okay with that. I'm okay with telling people I can't help you. But here's what I will share with you, Tammi, is that and this is going back to your community, bit that you just brought up. I try to find people, I vet people in my community that if somebody comes to me and they're like, oh my gosh, Erica, I need your help. And I know I can't help them for whatever reason, that I have somebody waiting in the wings, over here somewhere, that I can be like, I can't. However, I got something for you. Let me put you in touch with this person, because this person, just based on what you're sharing with me, this person will totally, or if it's not a particular person, maybe it's 2 or 3 people that they can go do their own vetting and find that out. But I think it's my responsibility especially in the branding space that I'm in, with all the things that I'm doing with helping companies build global brands. It's imperative that I'm also thinking about, well, not only what do my clients need or future clients need, but what do my partners within that I'm like, relying on and collaborating on and vibing on, and all these things that we're doing, like, what do they need help with? Like, Tammi, like, what do you need help with? Right. And that's what fires me up, is like understanding what people, not just my clients, but like, what do my peeps need? Who do they need to know? Who do they need to connect with? Because when I know that about a friend of mine or a collaborator or a client, I'm better for connecting them with somebody that is going to light up the world. And it sparks so much joy in me if I never work with somebody, but I know that, like, instinctively, somehow, some way, a connection of mine ended up helping that person in a big way. I mean, it just lights me up in such a huge way. So yes, I've told people I can't work with you, and for a number of reasons that I don't know if we have time to go into all that today, but I just make sure that here's the other thing. If I don't have somebody that I can help them with, I'm more motivated now to go meet other people that can support, because if it happens once, if I get that request once and I'm like, oh damn, I can't help them, I don't have a resource for them, then I know that it's probably going to happen again. I know I'm probably going to get another request for that. So I'm more eager to go find that resource for them, that feature person, to help them out.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that, because that's exactly how I do. I feel like, and I told somebody just the other day, I said, I'm a connector.
Yeah.
It's what I do. I was like, because I connected some people, a young man I interviewed the other day, I connected him with another friend of mine. And she said, I really want to meet him just based on watching the interview. And I said, girl, I got you. And I just hooked them up, did a messenger chat and connected them. And then I backed out and let them do their thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was just so neat just to be able to do that. And I'm like you, I feel, that just lights me up to just be able to do that. But let me ask you the question that you asked me. What is one thing that you are curious about that has nothing to do with your work or your life or, anything, just something that you're curious about?
So the one thing I haven't shared yet is I'm a classically trained soprano. So I am, yeah. So I have been singing. My dad will tell you that I've been singing since I was 4 months old, but he's my daddy. So, but no, I actually, I love singing. I have sang with symphony choruses, small ensemble choruses. I did the national anthem at a Boston Red Sox spring training game back in 2014 here in our local market, because that's where they do spring training. When they do spring training, obviously COVID's thrown some of that off a smidge, but I love singing. I love it. And it's ironic that my podcast, because I have a podcast, you were just on it not too long ago, but the Voices of Impact podcast. And it's ironic that that podcast is on iHeartRadio. And so for the longest time, I used to be pretty disappointed because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to actually publish, but then I thought, hey, that'd be super cool to actually have a song, whether I sing it or somebody else sings it, it'd be cool to have a song on the radio. But then as I got into podcasting, this is a few years back, and my second podcast landed on iHeartRadio, I'm like, I'm on iHeartRadio. So it's ironically not through my singing voice, but it is through my speaking voice. And that was something, again, I never thought would be humanly possible ever, until I started paving the way and meeting people and getting that work done internally to start believing in myself to say, you know what? I do have something that's impactful. I do have stories to share. And so for anybody that's listening to this, even your curiosity projects, those things that you are, tinkering around with, or those hobbies that you have, those can all shift pretty quickly into things that will guide you. Even if it's not the exact stream, like I'm not singing today per se, unless it's in my shower, but or my living room. Let's be real. My husband's like,
can
we stop doing that? What's that? What'd you say?
I said, you can belt a song out.
Oh, girl. Yeah. Well, let's not do that right now. It's almost 9:00 PM my time. And, so, but no, it's one of those things where you don't have to necessarily say that even if the thing that you aspirationally want to do as a hobby, there's certain skills that you're learning in a hobby that can take you professionally to the things that you want to do in your professional world. So don't discount just because it doesn't work out in one aspect. I don't have a recording deal at this point in the juncture, but it's not impossible either. I mean, at this point in the game, anything is possible. And so I just have to apply myself and do the work to make it happen. And could it happen? Sure. Will it happen? I don't know. But there's skills that I did in the singing world that have transferred to the things that I'm doing today. And that's what it's all about. So yeah.
That is awesome, because people don't think about that.
They don't.
They just think, okay, well, I did this, like I did marching band for 4 years. I played the clarinet for 6 years. I learned a lot of things doing that impact me today, even.
Yeah, for sure. What instrument did you play?
Clarinet.
That's so cool. So I wanted to play saxophone, but my parents were like, no, like you sing. So why don't you just do that? And that was the other thing too. We didn't have a choir at my school. We had a band, but we didn't have a choir. So I was like, okay, how's that going to work? And we made it happen. You just make it happen. If it's going back to what we said earlier, if your priorities are in line and you want to make that time to make it happen, you can make it happen. I went to school that didn't have a choir, but I still was able to sing. So you just figure out another way to do it. Right. I was the only singer, and I was like, I'm the damn star. No, I'm kidding.
I was getting ready to say that. I was not. Star. you could actually say I was the best at what I did.
No joke. Yes. 1,000% right there, girl. 1,000%.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to wrap it up. This has been so much fun. I've enjoyed it. We're going to probably have to bring Erica back, especially when I get ready to go on the TV, because I would really love for her to come on my show. But share with the people how they can connect with you and those details.
Yeah, thanks, Tammi. So the best way to probably connect with me is going to be through my podcast page, which is over simply at ericacastner.com/podcast. And depending on when you're listening to this, you might be able to catch Tammi in her episode. I believe she's 79, but you'll be able to scroll the podcast page, but ericacastner.com/podcast. And that's where you can check out my podcast, Voices of Impact, and hang out. I got a lot of other goodies over there as well, too, if you go check out that page.
Awesome. And the details will also be in the description of the video, audio, wherever you're listening or watching this on. So I'm just so grateful because this has been so much fun. But I knew that it would be, but I'm just so excited because she has shared so much goodness. And if you got so much goodness from it, make sure that you like and you share and you subscribe and all those things wherever you're watching or listening to this show. So again, thank you so much for joining me, Erica. And thank you for joining me, everyone, on Straight Outta Savannah, talking with Tammi.
Thanks, Tammi. You rock, my friend.
I know you've been blown away with the amazing value here today. Now go out and inspire the planet. And be sure to send us a message when you're ready to come talk about it on Straight Outta Savannah, talking with Tammi.